Rosehall Town is located along the Quarantine Highway in region number 6. In 1990, the boundaries were extended to include Williamsburg. For the borders, the first border to the east would be the J.C. Singh Access Road, the west, Cloud9 Dam at Williamsburg, the north, the Atlantic Ocean, and the south, the Gaisuku cane fields. In 1950, 230 fully occupied house lots were found in Rosehall Town. On September 20th, 1970, Rosehall Town granted township status. I can't remember the date clearly. Can anybody tell me the date? Today's date. What's today's date? The 20th. So that means it's Rosehall Town's the anniversary. So today marks 54 years for our beautiful town. It has 5.1 square miles with 25,000 residents. The vision of Rosehall Town: towards a model town comparable to the best in Guyana, where all its citizens live in peace, security, health, and are highly motivated, where fairness and justice prevail at all levels, and all children feel free to dream and hope. Our mission: to always foster collaborations and the goodwill of its citizens. We strive to provide efficient, reliable, cautious, essential services and public facilities, investment opportunities, infrastructural development through an accountable and transparent system of governance. The list of mayors and interim chairperson from 1970 to 2024: Mr. H.P. Ben, Mr. George String, Mr. Gerald Smart, Mistress Violet Wong, Mr. Oliver Fraser, Mr. Harry Prasad, Mr. Dindial Ramcharan, Mr. John Marai, Mr. Deonarain Janki, Mr. Williams Hendricks. And does anybody know the bus shed at Williamsburg? That bus shed was done in honor of Mr. Williams Hendricks. Mr. Bevon Sinclair, Mr. Bahendranath Sumra, Mr. Winston Hope, Mr. Vijay Ramu, Mr. Chatagun Ramnath, and currently Mr. Dave Budu. The list of town clerks: Mr. E. Harilal, Mr. E. S. Moore, Miss Dawn Burgess, Miss Penelope Lashley, Mr. Kenneth Ramroach, Mr. Harun Khan, Miss Jenny Alika, who is in the midst today, Mr. Selwyn Johnson, Miss Melicia Punch, Miss Ceremony Ramdial, Miss Natasha Moore, and currently Miss Natasha Griffith. And if you want to contact the municipality, you can visit their office at Lot 18 Saffron Park, Independence Avenue, Rosehall Town, the upper flat of the town's market, or contact them on telephone number 337-4882, extension 4014, 5126, 5019, and 5020. You could email them at rosehalltowncouncil@yahoo.com, rosehalltowncouncil5@gmail.com, or visit their office from Monday to Thursday at 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. or Friday 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Now let's go into our gallery. Don't worry, I'm almost finished. There's a picture of our Rosehall Town Arch. That's a business place who holds Mutu's Photoshop. Also, we have GTT located there. This is the Rosehall Town Primary School, and to all the students of Rosehall Town Primary School, you should count yourself very honored because the late Dr. Chedi Jagan attended Rosehall Town Primary School. The New Building Society Limited, the St. John Lutheran Church, Courts, Ming's Optical, the newly built Republic Bank, the Dyot Memorial Scots Church, who contributed to the building of Rosehall Town Primary School, the Rosehall Town Outpost, which is now the Juliet Griffith Daycare, the Mandir that is located on Williamsburg, the GTT Tower Cell Station, which was once a phone booth, the Rosehall Town Fire Station, the Rosehall Town Kali Temple, the Rosehall Town, which Guyana Water and Incorporated, the Rosehall Town Youth and Sports Club, or Airage Club, the St. Francis Community Developers, the Demerara Bank Limited, the Rosehall Town 7 Days Adventist Church, the Rosehall Town Recreational Ground, the Rosehall Town Church of the Nazarene. The end. I would like to thank you all for listening.
Let us put our hands together as we welcome the Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibilities for finance, Dr. Ashni Kumar Singh, as he brings remarks on behalf of the Government of Guyana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Let me first of all, of course, acknowledge the presence of my distinguished colleague, the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Regional Chairman, His Worship the Mayor, the CEO of Food for the Poor, REO. I know the Deputy Mayor is here somewhere. I saw Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayors here, councillors, and most of all, respected elders, community leaders, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, residents, most importantly, residents of Rosehall Town. I am mindful that it is a Friday afternoon, and it is late, and a lot of the children would like to go home, and I see several of them smiling and nodding as soon as I say that. So it is not my intention to give you a long speech. In fact, I was trying to maneuver to get myself off of the program so I could just listen to my colleague, Minister Sonia Parag, but alas, I was unsuccessful in my efforts to wriggle off of the program. But it gives me great pleasure to bring to you, on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, on behalf of Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips, on behalf of Vice President Dr. Bharat Jagdeo and the entire Cabinet and Government of Guyana, and indeed on behalf of all of the people of Guyana, it gives me great pleasure to extend to Rosehall Town warmest and heartiest felicitations and congratulations on the attainment of your 54th anniversary as a town. And I think we should applaud the achievement of that tremendous milestone. Minister Parag spoke of her Berbice roots. Her father, of course, being a very distinguished Berbician. As all of you know, I too have my ancestral roots in Bushlot village. And Minister Parag spoke also of the founder of our party and the founder of Independent Guyana, Dr. Chedi Jagan. And the list of illustrious sons and daughters of Berbice is indeed an extremely long one. And that list does not only comprise people in prominent positions of public life. It does not only comprise senior figures in the political landscape and political history of our country. It comprises people who have distinguished themselves in literally every facet of human endeavor. Every single facet of human endeavor. And I was delighted, in fact, to see this handout, this leaflet that was produced, this flyer that was produced, with the a little bit of the history of Rosehall Town, but very importantly, listing some outstanding residents of Rosehall Town over the years. And if you look at that list, you see persons who have distinguished themselves in business, in politics, in education and as educators, in the professions, doctors, lawyers, engineers, in law enforcement, in our social services like health and education, and indeed in sport. Because of course Berbice and Rosehall in particular have produced some of Guyana's most talented sports people. And Berbice and Rosehall in particular distinguished themselves in this manner at a time when our country was of course in a very different place. When our country was in the first instance a brand new independent nation, as we were in 1970, having just been an independent nation of 4 years of age and a newly born republic. And Berbice and Rosehall distinguished themselves during some of our country's most difficult and challenging and testing years. The period of the 1970s and the 1980s, and the early 1990s, when we were in a very different and far more challenging place politically and economically. But notwithstanding those challenges, Berbicians rose to the occasion and proved their mettle and excelled in whichever field of endeavor they adopted. To use my distinguished colleagues' words, fast forward to today, as Minister Parag said, fast forward to 2024, and consider for a moment the world in which we are living. I am not going to speak about the transformation that is taking place across all of Guyana. I'm not even going to speak about all of the aspects of the transformation that are taking place in Region 6. I want only to mention a few aspects. Let us consider, let us move perhaps from west to east. Starting from the west, the westernmost boundary of Region 6, the Berbice River. As you know, our government led by President Ali, we have committed to building a new four-lane bridge across the Berbice River. And we've already gone out with a request for proposals for that new four-lane bridge. And starting from the westernmost boundary. As soon as you cross the bridge, you have the east bank of Berbice, and you have New Amsterdam. On the east bank of Berbice, all the way up to Mara, since time immemorial, those communities have been living without electricity. Right now, the poles are being planted and the cables are being planted to take electricity to Mara for the first time ever. And the road is being built. At least 1 kilometer or more is being built every year until we complete the paving of that road all the way to Mara. We are investing in drainage and irrigation to open up the lands of Mara so that Mara and the East Bank of Berbice can once again become a food-producing center as it once was, and that there can be a resurgence in agriculture. In New Amsterdam, we are constructing a brand new world-class hospital, which His Excellency the President turned the sod for a few months ago, and that hospital is already under construction. Still in New Amsterdam, construction has just begun on a brand new nursing school, which will be training young Barbicians, of course young Guyanese, but young Barbicians right here to become nurses right here in New Amsterdam. If we travel down to Kanji and you go in to Rosehall, Kanji, as you know, we have reopened the sugar estate, we're investing heavily, and we've re-employed more than 1,000 persons who are now working at the estate and once again producing sugar. If you go further in, many of you would know of a community called New Forest. New Forest was once considered a remote community. New Forest does not have electricity up to today. I had the honor of visiting New Forest and delivering to them a message from His Excellency the President that before 2024 is out, New Forest will have electricity for the first time ever. And those electricity poles are already being laid, and the cables will be run, and the connections will be made. If we come down on the, well, in fact, I shouldn't forget, if we stop just by Palmyra, if we stop by Palmyra where once there were only cane fields, today you can go to Palmyra and see the construction of Guyana's second international stadium, which will be hosting international sports events, which will be completed before the end of this year, and hosting international sporting events by next year. By next year, just like how you will be journeying to Providence this weekend to watch cricket, CPL cricket in Providence, by next year, others will be journeying to Palmyra to watch CPL cricket in Palmyra. And Palmyra will be the center of a major industrial and commercial development, 2 internationally branded hotels, commercial centers, residential centers, and you've already seen what is taking place in Palmyra. It is happening before your very eyes. You come down the Quarantine Coast, and I'm not going to stop village by village. You come to Central Quarantine. I didn't mention the Deepwater Harbor that will be built at the mouth of the Berbice River, and eventually Guyana's first oil refinery, which will be built near to the mouth of the Berbice River, which will make Berbice the first producing region of refined petroleum products in the whole of Guyana. If you come to Central Quarantine, the Gaisuko Training School has produced thousands of the world's finest technicians and technical persons. Many of you in this room are probably graduates of the Gaisuko Port Moran Training School. Right next to Port Moran Training School, we have already constructed the Guyana Technical Training College, which includes the National Oil and Gas Institute. And we just graduated the first batch of 24 persons, all of whom have now been recruited into the oil and gas industry, trained right here in Port Moran. And for all of the international hotels that are being opened that will need specialist skills, where is the National Tourism and Hospitality Institute located? Right here in Port Moran, right next to the Guyana Technical Training College, where thousands of young Guyanese people will be trained for high-quality jobs in the tourism industry, right here in Port Moran. If we journey now to the easternmost extremity of region number 6, In number 75 village, a brand new hospital, another brand new hospital is being built, recognizing how important good quality healthcare is for all of our citizens. A housing scheme right there. Minister Parag referred to the thousands of new house lots that we're opening up right at 75 village, where you have the new hospital. Right behind the new hospital and the call center is a brand new housing scheme. Those house lots have already been allocated. You go further down to Coriferton and Molson Creek. We are currently in discussions with our Surinamese counterparts to construct the bridge across the Quarantine River. Imagine what a bridge across the Quarantine River will do for the economy of Region 6. We are opening up roads that will open tens of thousands of acres of arable land, cultivable land, going beyond Molson Creek, El Dorado, and eventually going further down the Quarantine River. I didn't mention the new roads that we've been building that will eventually link the Quarantine Highway with the Kanji Creek. As you know, we built 2 of those. I didn't mention the new Hope Light Canal that we're building at a cost of about 7 billion Guyana dollars, with 2 major outfalls. One around Lancaster and the other around 51, 52 area, a major embankment along the Kanji River, and a brand new network of internal drainage to ensure that Berbice will find itself in a situation where the historic problems of drainage and irrigation and flooding will finally be consigned to the past, and we'll have more efficient and more effective water management right here in Region 6. I didn't mention the community roads that are being built in every single village across Region 6. I think we're on one of those roads right now. Internal community roads in every single village. There was once a time when you go to villages, you will be confronted with children having to take off their school shoes and roll up their school pants to walk through sometimes very muddy dams to go to school. Today, concrete roads are being built in every single village. And we see them. I do not believe there's a single village in Region 6 that has not seen most of its roads being resurfaced with concrete surfaces. And this year alone, we will be going out to tender very shortly, and we will be awarding contracts for nearly 400 more concrete roads right here in Region 6. Internal community roads. I did not mention the nearly 100 community grounds that have been upgraded. The nearly 100 community grounds that have been upgraded with landfilling, leveling, rolling, replanting of grass, fencing, construction of washroom facilities, installation of lights in some cases, installation of pavilions in some cases. Today, every weekend, you see boys and girls playing in community grounds throughout the length and breadth of the Quarantine Coast. Once again, we'll be in a position to produce and dominate all sporting events in Guyana. Cricket, of course, but I see Councillor Troy in the audience, and I've asked him to lead a special. Troy, you should stand up for everybody to see you. You know Troy is one of our councillors on the Rosehall Council. Troy, I hope the people of Rosehall know you very well. And I've asked Troy, he's a certified football coach, and I've asked him to launch a football training program, because I want Berbice to dominate not only cricket, but I want Berbice to dominate football in Guyana. We must produce the best footballers in Guyana. Troy, that is your responsibility.